The European Union (EU) is one of the most innovative political and economic projects in history, uniting 27 countries with diverse histories, economies, and cultures. Its unique structure, blending supranational governance with national sovereignty, has made it a model of regional integration while simultaneously presenting complex challenges. As a single entity, the EU is an economic powerhouse, influencing global trade, regulation, and diplomacy. Yet its inner workings and external pressures reveal the intricacies of such a large-scale union. This comprehensive analysis delves into the EU's contributions, internal challenges, global role, and future outlook.
The European Union is possibly as bad as China, just smaller. Okay? It's terrible what they do to us. European Union, take a look at the car situation. They send the Mercedes in. We can't send our cars in. Look what they do to our farmers. They don't want our farm products. Now, in all fairness, they have their farmers, so they want to protect their farmers. But we don't protect ours, and they protect theirs.
The contributions of the European Union economic integration. The EU's single market is one of its most significant achievements, designed to promote economic cooperation among member states, free movement of goods, services, capital, and people. By eliminating trade barriers, the EU has fostered cross-border commerce and investment. Companies can operate seamlessly across the bloc, while individuals can work, live, and study in any member state without complex visa requirements. Customs Union. A unified external trade policy eliminates internal tariffs and facilitates trade negotiations, strengthening the EU's global economic influence. The euro, a shared currency. The euro has become a cornerstone of European economic integration. Economic simplification. It eliminates currency exchange risks within the eurozone, providing stability for businesses and consumers engaged in cross-border transactions. Global financial influence. The euro is the world's second most used reserve currency, enhancing the EU's role in international finance and increasing liquidity in global markets. Political and social stability. The EU has played a critical role in maintaining peace and stability in Europe. Post-war reconciliation. Emerging from the devastation of two world wars, the EU fosters economic interdependence to reduce the likelihood of conflict. Cohesion policies. Through funding for less developed regions, the EU addresses disparities, promoting economic convergence and reducing social inequalities. Consumer and worker protections. The EU has established itself as a global leader in protecting citizens' rights. Product and safety standards. Regulations ensure high-quality goods and services, safeguarding consumer interests. Data privacy. Laws like the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, set global benchmarks for digital privacy and transparency. Worker rights. EU directives guarantee minimum standards for wages, working conditions, parental leave, and workplace safety, ensuring fair treatment across member states. Mobility and accessibility. The EU facilitates unprecedented freedom for its citizens and fosters global tourism. Freedom of movement. Citizens can move across member states without visas or bureaucratic hurdles, fostering cross-border employment and cultural exchange. Travel simplification. Visitors benefit from a unified visa system and the euro, making it easier to explore multiple countries within the region. Challenges of the European Union. Economic diversity. The EU encompasses nations with vastly different levels of economic development and industrial specialization. Advanced economies. Countries like Germany and France boast sophisticated industries, from automotive manufacturing to aerospace and pharmaceuticals. Developing economies. Nations like Bulgaria and Romania rely on agriculture and lower-value exports, making them more vulnerable to global market fluctuations. This disparity creates conflicting priorities. Trade policies. Advanced economies favor open markets and minimal restrictions, while developing economies require protective measures to shield their industries from competition. Industrial policy. High-tech industries in wealthier countries have distinct needs compared to resource-based industries in less developed regions. Monetary policy constraints. The shared currency presents challenges in addressing the diverse needs of member states. Uniform policy. Varied economies. The European Central Bank, ECB, sets a single interest rate for the Eurozone, which may not suit all countries. For example, low interest rates benefit stable economies like Germany, but may exacerbate inflation in struggling economies like Greece. Debt management issues. Countries in financial crises, such as Greece during the Eurozone debt crisis, cannot devalue their currencies to boost exports and regain competitiveness, prolonging recovery. Sovereignty versus centralization. Balancing national independence with EU-wide governance is a persistent challenge. Limited fiscal authority. Taxation and fiscal policy remain under national control, preventing the EU from redistributing wealth effectively to address regional inequalities. Consensus challenges. Reaching agreement among 27 member states often leads to slow decision-making and diluted policies that fail to meet the specific needs of individual countries. Regulatory burden. While EU regulations benefit consumers and workers, they can impose significant costs on businesses. Operational complexity. Companies must navigate both EU-wide and national regulations, increasing compliance costs. Competitiveness. Strict standards, particularly in technology and environmental policies, can hinder the growth of European firms on the global stage. Global influence of the EU trade leadership. The EU's collective size and unified policies give it considerable leverage in global trade. Negotiating power. The EU negotiates trade agreements as a bloc, securing favorable terms that benefit its members collectively. Setting standards. EU requirements for goods and services often become global benchmarks, influencing international markets. Regulatory pioneering. The EU's policies have far-reaching global implications. Data protection. The GDPR has set a high standard for privacy laws worldwide, compelling companies in other regions to adapt. Environmental sustainability. The EU's strict emission standards and renewable energy initiatives push industries worldwide to adopt greener practices. Crisis management. The EU leverages its collective strength to address global challenges. Economic sanctions. Coordinated sanctions against countries like Russia showcase the EU's ability to use its economic clout for geopolitical objectives. Climate action. Through initiatives like the European Green Deal, the EU is a global leader in combating climate change and transitioning to sustainable energy. Risks and vulnerabilities. Internal divisions. Economic and political disparities among member states create ongoing tensions. North-South divide. Wealthier northern nations often resist financial transfers to southern states struggling with debt and unemployment. Rule of law. Conflicts, disputes with Eastern European nations over democratic principles and judicial independence strain unity. Geopolitical challenges. The EU faces external pressures that test its resilience. Brexit. The UK's departure underscored the difficulties of balancing national sovereignty with collective governance, creating uncertainties for both sides. Energy dependence. Reliance on Russian energy exposed vulnerabilities, prompting a re-evaluation of energy security policies. The EU's journey is far from over, and its role in shaping the global economy and geopolitics will continue to be both impactful and complex.